Hey gang, it's Niall here from HowDoIGetGreatLegs.com, and I'm here with the man himself, Joey Atlas from The Truth About Cellulite. I know the top concern for all women is to get rid of that ugly looking cellulite they're carrying around. Now a little bit about Joey. He's been in the fitness industry since 1985, so he has a wealth of experience. He's got a bachelor's and a master's in exercise science. He's been featured in numerous publications. Consultant to Pepsi-Cola's corporate fitness program. He's a home gym designer, a former competitive bodybuilder, and these days he is the expert on the web when it comes to getting rid of cellulite. So he definitely has some important points you want to listen to. Joey, maybe is there anything I missed there? Is there anything that everyone should know about you?
That's a really good broad overview. Touched on some good history there. To clarify, my start in 1985 was actually me simply being able to walk into a gym for the first time for legal reasons. And I was only 15 at the time. Had been doing some fitness and training at home with my dad because that's how I was introduced to all this in the first place. But back then, you technically weren't allowed to really start working out until you were about 15, 16. And we had a gym in the town there, and the rules were pretty loose there. And the guy knew I was pretty serious, so he let me join at 15, and I was able to take one of my schoolmates with me, and we just started training together. And that's where my fitness experience all really started, beyond just my dad being the catalyst from an early age. The rest is history, as they say.
Now, I remember when I started to investigate your solution, your cellulite reduction solution is a complete step-by-step solution, the Naked Beauty solution. Could you tell us a little bit more about what that is?
Yeah, over the years, career-wise, I had two training businesses. One was in New York, where we would train people in their homes and offices. And then the other was a studio I opened when I moved to Florida, where people would come to us, which I've since closed to solely focus on the internet and reaching people all over the world. Now, the specialization in females and their lower bodies kind of came about as a result of me finding the best ways possible to get fitness results under the constraints of training people in their homes and offices, right? We typically didn't have the big machines and all the weights and all that stuff that comes along with the fitness center or health club setting. So I was challenged to really dig a bit deeper, use my knowledge of the body and physiology, and how to actually stimulate muscle change and physical change through different means. So most of this revolved around body weight training and body movements that could be done without your typical big machines and weights. Well, that led to a lot of women I was working with getting even better results than they ever got no matter what they tried. And one of those things being the typical gym approach. So I realized I was onto something there, and I just kept refining that and making that part of my marketing angle. And naturally, also by word of mouth, the women who were happy with their results kept telling their friends, or their friends just would ask them, "Hey, what are you doing? I want to do the same thing." Right? They just noticed what was going on. So that became one of my strong markets, and that's really where I took my lead into the information part of things by going onto the internet and creating these programs so that somebody on the other side of the world can also order it and do it themselves without me actually being there. Does that make sense?
That does indeed. Now, one thing that I found fascinating about your product was the Simulast method and just the whole theory behind how that helps cure cellulite. Could you talk a little bit more about that specifically?
Yeah, definitely. The initial, the first thing people have to understand about cellulite when we talk about curing cellulite or getting rid of cellulite or removing cellulite is that cellulite isn't actually a thing. There is no it's not a substance or a tangible thing that's in our bodies or on our skin or in our skin. It's actually a word that was made up to describe the dimpled and shadowy appearance, supposedly in France, decades ago in a beauty salon. Now, what happened was this descriptive word over time became a thing that, you know, companies selling lotions and injectables and laser massages, they actually got women to believe that cellulite was actually a thing either in their skin or inside the fat, or something that had to do with toxins inside, under the skin layers. So women, naturally, because of all this, they thought cellulite is actually a thing that they have. So inside that group of women, you would have skinny women who actually look good in clothes, but they don't like the way they look naked or in a bikini because they have this dimply, mushy appearance of their lower bodies. Then you have women who are somewhat overweight. It might be 20 pounds overweight or 100 pounds overweight. And they sometimes think that cellulite is the word that describes this extra body fat on their lower bodies. So you have all this gray area of what the word cellulite actually is and what it actually means. Okay? For our purposes, when we talk of cellulite and me being able to help women target and fix the problem, it's this dimpled and shadowy appearance of the lower body. And again, that's usually in a woman who is happy with her size, happy with her weight, maybe wants to lose 5 pounds and even tone up a bit more. But essentially, the typical woman looks awesome in clothes, feels great when she's dressed, but she just does not want to be seen naked or in a bikini. All right? So what is Stimulast? Stimulast is the acronym for Synergistic Muscle Layer Stimulation. And the whole theory behind synergistic muscle layer stimulation is that these women who are actually happy with their weight and their clothing size and their body size, but they're unhappy with the mushiness and the sagginess and the dimpled look of their lower body, their muscles are in atrophy. Okay, their lower body muscles have gotten very soft and flat and saggy, and when the muscles are in that condition, naturally, the skin on top of them also sags and takes on a dimpled and puckered look, right? So you see these shadows because of that lack of support under the skin, pushing it out to be smoothly toned and tight. So what's the fix for that? The fix for that is to get all of those muscles that are in atrophy to develop their own natural density and to take form and to be sculpted. And so there's 90 muscles in the female lower body. And in order to get all those muscles toned the way they're supposed to be, it requires a synergy of certain moves done with proper form so that they lift, so that they shape and sculpt, and they push outward against all that skin that surrounds them, and it naturally lifts and tones and smooths out that skin. So that's the long definition of synergistic muscle layer stimulation.
Now, you touched on a point there, and that was one of the favorite things I love about it, is you talk about this idea of 90 muscles. I think most women, the way they train, the way they're typically shown to train, because it's not their fault, is that they're really only focusing on a couple of few. Maybe you could talk a little bit more about why people overlook developing their legs completely.
Okay. One of the biggest problems with the traditional gym machine and weight type routines is that they're very limited in the dimensions that they present to the lower body. All right? Most people don't know this, but all of the machines we see in health clubs today, their roots are tied to rehabilitation machines for people who were actually injured decades ago. These were the first machines in physical therapy clinics and physiotherapy clinics where these were used to rehab people who were either injured or who underwent surgery. And so these machines are created to help the person rehabilitate certain muscle groups. All right? So there was an extrapolation made that if these machines can be used for rehabilitation, well, why don't we use them for fitness and have people try to get in better shape with these machines? And so that turned into a whole massive industry, as we know, of all these different types of machine companies, all different variations. And so people just naturally think, well, if all these machines are filling up this massive health club, that's probably what I need to be doing for my fitness, which is really not the case. The case is those actually limit what our bodies naturally want to do. Our bodies don't want to be specifically guided in a movement that is presented to you by a machine. Your body wants to move much more naturally, and it's capable of doing many, many more movements than a typical machine might put you through. The bigger problem gets compounded when you take, say, 2 or 3 variations of a squat machine and combine it with a free weight squat bar or a Smith machine squat or a dumbbell squat. And so, sure, maybe you're doing 6 different lower body exercises, but they're all simply one variation of a squat. So you're only really doing one exercise. And what happens is you're only presenting all those muscles with, 1 or 2 dimensional move that's more likely to result in overtraining of those muscle groups and the joints in that specific movement pattern, right? So you're really not doing 6 different exercises. You're only doing one with a slight variation on each. And so you're really not tapping into the full potential of stimulating all those 90 muscles in the lower body. You're still only hammering away on just a few of them with one general type of move. When we move away from the machines and the weights and the typical movements, we present the body with an opportunity to go through a series of much more natural moves that all take advantage of working against gravity at different angles to naturally get the muscles to be stimulated the way they want to be by using these various movements without weights and machines.
Very cool. So people can do this from their homes.
You can do it at home. You can do it at the office. You can do it when you're traveling. So in essence, by doing something that's even more effective and taking away the need for the gym and weight type setting, you actually present the user with a much more massive chance for success, because the excuse of not being able to do it is removed. This can be done anywhere, anytime.
Yeah.
So the likelihood of success and maintenance is exponentially greater.
That's amazing. Amazing. Now, one of the things that I'm very concerned about, and I know you know a lot about, is the hormonal effects of this kind of strength training. Can you talk a little bit about how you tackle hormonal effects? Because as we all know, the appearance of cellulite really begins partially by hormonal imbalances.
Yeah, this dimply, shadowy, mushy, saggy appearance of the lower body, it hits various women at different stages of life. Some women get it as soon as they go through the puberty phases in the early teens, and they start seeing their lower bodies change immediately. And I don't mean weight gain. I simply mean the appearance of their lower body texture. Some women see it after their first or second child. Some women see it in the pre and during menopause years. And some women don't see it until after their third or fourth child, or after a period of a lot of weight gain and a lot of weight loss. All right. So inside of all those scenarios are the hormonal changes that happen that really aren't visible to the eye because they happen internally. Well, those hormonal shifts and changes that happen internally are largely responsible for how the body looks on the outside and also how it feels and functions. So the average woman cannot stick to the typical weights and gym type routine. When they try to, there's actually an adverse effect on the woman's physical structure and the hormones. And, this is evident in reports of, women losing their period cycles, other types of female related health issues that come up because of too heavy, too intense training. So the truth is, the average woman needs to back off and take a more natural approach to stimulating the muscles to get that level of fitness she's looking for and is capable of, right? And so when we're talking about this, we're obviously talking about full body improvement, but that's also going to affect the appearance of the lower body. The other layer of this is the nutritional aspect. Most people take for granted the amount of thought we should be giving to what we put into our bodies. Most people just normally think, because it exists and I can easily get it, that's probably what I should be eating. Or if something is labeled a health food, well, then it should be good for me. Otherwise, it wouldn't be called a health food. The truth is, we have to do a little bit more homework than that to really find what is optimal for our bodies and what truly is healthy for us, not just short term, but also for long term. And if we dig deep enough, we realize that for the woman, there are certain nutrients she actually needs to add into her diet and keep coming in on a consistent basis to optimize her hormone regulation and to optimize hormone balance. And when she does that, the effect of hormone optimization has a direct effect on the integrity of the body, both the muscles, the skin, simply the appearance, even of the face, not just the lower body, but even of the face and the hair, the nails, everything that's important to a woman. Again, beyond health and function are the vanity elements, the way it appears on the outside. So what we put in is going to have a direct effect on hormone optimization, and hence the integrity and the structure of the body, both on the inside and the outside.
So your product tackles cellulite from multiple angles. You have the Simulast method, which builds the muscles up underneath, which is going to stretch out the skin. You're returning hormones to an optimal level balance, killing sort of any sort of cellulite potential. And then nutritionally, you're addressing ways that people self-sabotage themselves, but you're also making sure people have the nutrients, again, to hormone regulate.
Correct. Yeah. I mean, a good example of that is there are so many foods on the market now, and even, kids have to look out for this stuff. Most parents take for granted that there are things on the label where if you don't take the time to read that label and see what's there, then you're just putting into your body what somebody else is deciding is good for you and okay, which is not true. There are so many chemicals that are allowed to be freely used in many of our foods, and even things that are labeled as health foods, which we've removed from my household. Me, my kids, it's not allowed in the house. And even when we're out and about, we know the things to look for on labels so that we can avoid those types of chemicals that, even though they're FDA cleared, they're not cleared by us personally, and they actually work against us. So we avoid them, and we make sure we make the better, healthier choices based on knowing what should be on a label.
Now, something important we were talking about earlier, this isn't about a calorie restriction diet. This isn't about, eating a bland diet. This is just about selecting good foods. You can still eat a very filling, very delicious diet. Isn't that correct?
Yeah, actually, good point. The key is when you look at this properly, it's actually, we use the word diet more as a meaning of a way of eating, a way of nutrition, not so much being on a diet.
Yep.
So the word we use typically used as diet, but again, we're using that as a way of eating habits, and the things that go into a person's daily and weekly meal plans. So again, most of that means avoiding the bad ingredients and then making sure we're getting in all the good ingredients that lend to hormone optimization and optimal fitness and function.
Now, last thing I want to talk to you about is cardio. Traditional, medium strength, long cardio, 45 minutes, an hour, that a lot of people do. Now, I know you're burning a lot of calories doing the strength training for the Simulast method, and more muscle is going to burn calories as well. How do you address just straight up cardio? What do you do for that?
Okay, so when we talk about that, we'll talk about the ideal type of woman who is looking for this program. Again, I see so many women who are in a great weight range, and they look fantastic in clothes, and they have no weight to lose. Yet they will say that they do 90 minutes of cardio every day, and and they're not happy with their results, right? So I asked them, what results is it that you're looking for, and what got you doing 90 minutes of cardio, right? So the problem with the average woman whose weight is good and body size is good, doing 90 minutes of cardio, is that is usually only going to lead to more muscle wasting, right? So in essence, she's breaking down the muscles even further, and they're getting more atrophied, even flatter, and even saggier. So she's actually making her problem worse, right? So the key in a situation like that is to decrease the cardio to a level that is more conducive to overall health and well-being, not so much weight loss, and then introducing the Simulast type exercise routine where she's actually focusing on targeting all the muscles to literally wake them up and get them into the form that they're supposed to be in, to make them more dense, to bring shape and to them and to sculpt them and to get them lifted so that they give the effect on the outer layers of skin that we're looking for. So it becomes a matter of adjustment and then letting that person know why they're adjusting it this way. That they're what they've been doing is working against them, and what they have to do is make a switch so that what they're doing is working for them.
So it's just about a healthy balance and optimizing the amount of cardio you do.
Exactly. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, we all love doing some kind of cardio sometimes for an hour and a half, whether it's kayaking or a long bike ride or a walk run on a mountainside. But to do 90 minutes of cardio 5 or 6 days a week and hate it and simply hate doing it, there's something wrong there, right?
Yeah.
And, you know, that's where the answer lies. Knowing that something is wrong there and it's not even fun or feel good anymore. Yeah. That's just scratching the surface.
That's great. Now, the program itself, Naked Beauty, that's comprised of ebooks, very descriptive ebooks, follow-along videos so they can work out with you from home. On top of that, there's video tutorials, and then, of course, a lifetime subscription to the Cellulite Files, which I find invaluable, talking about the current products and so a lot of the misinformation around how you're going to deal with cellulite. Could you talk a little bit more about the product itself? Maybe where can people find it so they can check it out for themselves?
Yeah, absolutely. So if anybody's looking for more information, just check the links on this page that Niall has set up for you. That'll take you exactly to where you want to go to get more information. To expand on what Niall just said, the program is put together for ease of use, right? So we have the video version for people who want to watch videos and follow along. There's also a printable PDF version where you can actually print them off, take them with you in case you're not going to have access to video if you're traveling or if you're at the office, or even if you are a gym-type person who needs the gym atmosphere to get out of the house and get your fitness in. You could take your printable PDFs with you to the gym and just follow along. There's also some support PDF documents in there which touch on other aspects of what Niall and I have just spoke about. And then we have the Cellulite Files, which are basically follow-ups and updates that evolved from women submitting questions who got on the program, have been on the program, or were looking to get on the program, and who had really good questions about cellulite issues, female nutrition, female fitness, and we simply rolled those into. Every now and again, we'll add new ones, and we'll add that to the file, and we'll send that out when it goes live. But essentially, everything in the package is geared toward helping the average woman beat this thing called cellulite